Money, a necessity we all use every day. We work to earn money, we consume and spend money. Money acts as capital and flows in the economy. Capital generates value through its flow, work creates value, consumption provides services. Each of us is a small cog in the wheel of capital operation. But what is capital operation? According to the official definition, capital is the control over resources. Using this control to gain more control is called capital operation. It may sound complicated. Do you find it profound? No problem, let's look at a few stories. You'll understand as soon as you hear them. Story 1. Once upon a time, there was a small town where everyone was deep in debt, living day to day based on their credit. One day, a wealthy traveler from another city arrived and walked into a hotel. He placed a 1,000 yuan bill on the counter and said he wanted to choose a suitable room. While the man was upstairs looking at the rooms, the hotel owner took the 1,000 yuan bill and ran to the butcher next door, paying off his debt for meat. The butcher now had 1,000 yuan and crossed the street to pay off his pig farming debt. The pig farmer took the 1,000 yuan and quickly went to pay off his feed bill. The feed seller took the 1,000 yuan and rushed to pay off his debt to a prostitute. With the 1,000 yuan, the prostitute went to the hotel and paid off her room debt. Just as the traveler was coming downstairs, he picked up the 1,000 yuan, claimed that he didn't find a satisfactory room, and put the money in his pocket. On that day, no one produced anything, and no one received anything, but all the problems of the people in the town were perfectly solved. Story 2. One day, the son of a banker was curious and asked his father how he earned so much money. The banker put down what he was doing and smiled, asking his son to bring the meat from the refrigerator. The son brought the meat over, and the banker told him to put it back in the refrigerator. The son did as he was told and stood there confused. The banker stared at his son for a while and finally smiled and said, "The pork was originally in the refrigerator, and now it's still in the refrigerator. But do you have something extra in your hand?" The son looked at his hand and realized it was covered in pork fat. The third story goes like this. A gave me a savings deposit of 50 million RMB. I found B and asked him to take the deposit to Hong Kong for mortgage, and obtained a loan of 50 million RMB at a lower interest rate than mainland China. With the 50 million RMB, I went to Italy to find C and bought a vineyard. I also obtained 2 immigration qualifications. After buying the vineyard, C mortgaged it to an Italian bank and obtained a loan of 50 million RMB at an even lower interest rate than Hong Kong. I took the 50 million RMB to buy red wine and olive oil and brought them back to China to sell, making a profit of 30 million RMB. The initial 50 million RMB turned into 80 million RMB. I used the remaining 50 million RMB to retrieve the savings deposit from Hong Kong and redeemed the vineyard in Italy. In the end, I gained a profit of 30 million RMB plus the opportunity for 2 immigrations, along with owning a vineyard. The fourth story is about a cultural figure who made a fortune in Hong Kong a few years ago but failed in his domestic investment and accumulated a lot of debt. So he came up with the idea of capital operation. He registered a media company in the Virgin Islands and signed a comprehensive agreement with various TV stations in the name of A, stipulating that a company will provide a certain amount of program time for free to each TV station in return for several minutes of advertising time for a company every day. Then he found a program production company and promised to invest in it. In return, the production company must provide a company with a certain number of hours of program every year. Once everything was settled, he went to a Hong Kong listed company whose stock had already soared and told the boss that he held a large amount of advertising time operating rights, which would allow him to earn billions of advertising revenue every year. The boss decided to acquire 30% of a company's shares in cash and stocks. The cultural figure immediately became the second largest shareholder of the listed company. He used part of the cash to invest in the production company to fulfill his promise. After all these, the stock price soared, and the cultural figure became a wealthy person again within 2 years. As long as you are good at integrating resources and balancing the interests of all parties, there will be fruitful results. Looking at the various parties involved, the TV stations have advertising time, the program production company has production capabilities but lacks funding, the listed company has funding but lacks projects, and the cultural person has nothing. Yet they are able to integrate them all together to highlight their value. Through capital operations, this value is reflected in the stock market. The most amazing thing about capital is its flow and operation. which can turn $1 into $10. A true master can leverage resources and increase the value. A business model not only allows the best development of the value of a company's resources, but also attracts capital to enter the company, which will inevitably amplify the business opportunities. After reading these 4 short stories, do you all understand it now? With the rapid development of the Internet, in addition to capital operations, new business models such as freemium and crowdfunding have emerged. A prostitute left the night scene and applied for a job at a trading company. Within a month, she slept with 20 married male colleagues, then resigned. A few days later, she sent the same message to the 20 men, claiming to be pregnant and needing $5,000 for an abortion, to be paid in one lump sum to avoid inconvenience. 3 days later, she received 100,000 yuan. What is this? It's cross-industry expansion with user scaling, personalized service, and freemium to paid model innovation. The 20 men each contributed 250 yuan to make up the 5,000 yuan for her abortion, which is called crowdfunding. The 20 men each contributed 250 yuan to cover the nutrition expenses for the remaining child, and the child is sold for 1 million yuan, which is 19 times the return. This is called venture capital. The child is fictitious and there was no pregnancy, which is stated in the prospectus. The woman didn't actually apply for a job at the trading company, but was preparing to do so, which is a business plan. Sponsoring the woman with 200 yuan to execute this plan and agreeing to share the profits is called angel investment. The woman goes to work at the trading company, but the boss doesn't pay her salary and allows her to make money from her male colleagues. This is called wool coming out of the pig and the dog paying the bill, typical internet thinking. The trading company boss uses his money to package the woman and have her participate in talent shows, enter the entertainment industry, invest in movies and TV dramas, and become her agent, which is called asset restructuring, transferring the risk to the woman. She becomes famous overnight after starring in a certain movie, and the box office skyrockets. The boss gets a return on investment that is tens of times the original amount, which is called successful IPO. Now, do you have a better understanding of business concepts, capital operations, and business models? What else do you know? Feel free to leave comments and follow my channel. See you in the next episode.